In this video, we are going to look at the charts. We're going to look at where we are at in the cycle, and we're going to look at what lies ahead for both Bitcoin and altcoins and whether or not they're about to enter a parabolic upward phase. What's up, guys? Dirk here from intelligentcryptocurrency.com. As you can see, I have a beautiful background behind me. It may or may not be a green screen, but that is besides the point. So, before we get into today's content, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, click that subscribe button, click the notification bell so that you do get future updates whenever I publish a video. And if you want to get notified via email whenever I upload a new video, please go and sign up for my free masterclass. It's the first link in the description below. So besides the masterclass and the training and the content that you get and the details on how to join my intelligent cryptocurrency program, if you're interested in that, all of that info you'll get when you sign up, but you will also get an email notification every time I upload a video on YouTube. So go and sign up for that so you make sure to never miss another video. All right, guys, so as I'm recording this, it is the 9th of March, 2021. Bitcoin is back at $53,300, okay? So as you can see, let's look at this chart over here, $53,348. And you can see this red circle over here. This is an interesting thing to watch because what tends to happen in trends is you have accelerations of the trend, all right? You get a flat trend and then a steeper angle and then more of an acceleration as it starts to move towards the parabolic blow off. So you can see over here, I could actually draw this for you. You can see this might be, you know, a bit of a slower trend. And then you can start to see we get an acceleration, second level. And this right here, it continues to accelerate in the trend until at some point we get a parabolic move to the upside, a blow off, and then the trend is complete. So why I circled this at this point is that when these trends change in their acceleration levels, what tends to happen is that we start to get gaps. So in normal trends, when the trend isn't accelerating just yet, what tends to happen is on a correction in that trend, the low tends to touch the previous support. So in this case, let's round it up to 42,000. In a regular trend where the acceleration isn't that steep, this would have come back to 42K. Now, the fact that it came to 43K and reversed to the upside without touching 42K or lower means that the buyers stepped in before that level and created a reversal before the strong support of the previous top at 42K. Now, it isn't by all means a guaranteed thing, but a lot of the time when this happens and there's a gap between the previous top and the bottom of the correction, it means that there's a lot of strength behind this in an upwards trend, meaning that the next leg up is likely to be very strong and take us to higher levels. So it is entirely possible that we can go into 60, 70, 80K from here with a strong move up in the next few weeks for Bitcoin. And obviously, if that were to happen, altcoins would also benefit. And at some point, we're going to get a massive parabolic move to the upside in altcoins. I really still believe that, just like we saw at the end of the cycle in 2017. So Bitcoin had a massive run November to December of 2017. Bitcoin peaked on the 17th of December. And then after Bitcoin peaked, the altcoins had a 3 to 4 week insane parabolic run where they went 10, 20, 30x in less than a month. And I think we will both get the Bitcoin parabolic blow off to the upside and the altcoin parabolic blow off to the upside. I think that is yet to come in the coming months. Now, the only question is going to be, is that going to happen very quickly, like say within the next 2-3 months, or is it going to take longer, and is the build up towards that going to take us indeed the rest of this year, and is the cycle only going to peak at the end of the year just like it has in 2013 and in 2017? And of course, that is something that we will only know for sure in hindsight, okay? But for now, we are trying to guess, we are trying to see what happens, and as the trend develops, as it continues to go higher, as everything changes in the market, we want to keep on top of that to be able to make the best possible decision when to get out of the market, because at some point it is going to crash. But if you get out too early, you can miss out on huge parabolic upside gains, right? Simply by staying in for a week or 2 weeks longer can make the difference between, maybe making 3x and making 10x. It can really make that much of a difference. But at the same time, if you stay in too long and you ride that all the way up and back down again, well, then you also miss it. So it's pretty much guaranteed. You're either going to sell too early or too late. But what I want to try and do is at least, try and get to 10 to 20% of that top. So meaning if Bitcoin is going to peak at, for example, $200,000, I want to try and exit as close to that as possible, say within a 10 to 20% range. So if it's going to go to 200K, if I can get out anywhere between, say, 160 and 180K, sure, I don't get the exact top, but that is good enough, because in theory, when it crashes again, we're going to see, a 60 to 80% crash. So let's say, hypothetically, that peak is 200,000. If we see an 80% crash, right, that means we would go back down to 40,000. So if you exit between 160 and 180 and it drops back down to 50, 40,000, you can buy back in and you've made some huge gains. Same thing with the altcoins. So now let's go and look at some of the headlines and the things that are happening to back up everything that I've just said here on the chart. Because usually in charts, you do get these parabolic cycles purely based on the charts and the trends, right? You get the steeper increase in the trend lines. At some point it goes parabolic and then the trend is complete. So I think we still have to get that. But if you look what is happening, fundamentally, it is absolutely insane how much money is flowing into Bitcoin right now and how bullish things are for crypto. And this is only just getting started. So look at this, okay? So the third Bitcoin ETF expected to launch in Canada this week. If approved, North America's third Bitcoin ETF is planned for listing on Tuesday. Okay, we just have here PayPal. Literally happened yesterday. PayPal acquires crypto security firm Curve for nearly $200 million. So huge money being invested in the infrastructure, right? NYDIG raises $200 million from strategic partners. So this is additional capital comes amid dramatic acceleration of Bitcoin adoption via NYDIG from traditional finance firms, right? $200 million growth capital led by strategic partners Stone Ridge Holdings, Morgan Stanley, New York Life, Mass Mutual, Soros Funds Management, FS Investment, okay? Super bullish, guys. Do you think this would be happening if this wasn't going to go way higher? I mean, sure, in the short term, it could be the local top, right? And we could get a correction. But in the long term, this kind of money and investment into crypto, into something, means the outlook for it likely is going to be much more profitable than what they're investing in right now, right? Thailand, largest movie theater chain, accepts Bitcoin. The major Cineplex group is starting to accept Bitcoin as part of a crypto pilot project, okay? This is stuff that a few years ago is unheard of. Now it is starting to happen, and it's still experimental, but it's step by step. This is how it happens. This one starts accepting it, this chain starts accepting it, this country starts accepting it, this airport, this whatever, this airline, and slowly, little by little, it just gets bigger and bigger until it reaches a tipping point, and all of a sudden, it's mainstream and everyone is using it. Norway listed Acre to put 100% Bitcoin in treasury reserves of new investment unit owned by billionaire, I can't pronounce that, Kel. The firm's new investment entity, CT, is going all in on Bitcoin, right? So this is what we're talking about, institutional FOMO, companies, funds, institutions investing into Bitcoin, and it's only getting started. MicroStrategy with Michael Saylor and Tesla with Elon Musk, I really feel like they kicked this off, and hundreds, thousands, maybe tens of thousands of companies around the world are going to start following that lead. And it takes time for this to happen. They need board meetings, they need approvals, they need to make these decisions with shareholders. But once that decision is made and they can start investing millions or tens of millions or 100 million plus into Bitcoin, that is probably going to be a longer term decision where they're going to be in it for multiple years, if not longer, and taking that Bitcoin, the very limited amount of Bitcoin, they're taking some off the market that gets locked up, reducing the overall supply that's available for everyone else even more, meaning that if people want to buy Bitcoin, they're going to have to pay higher prices, which means the price goes up. And the price of Bitcoin goes up, the price of altcoins and cryptocurrency as a whole tends to go up too, right? Another one, Maitu, voluntary announcements, purchase of cryptocurrencies, Ether and Bitcoin, right? So You can see over here, the announcement is made by Maitu on a voluntary basis. The group has purchased 15,000 units of Ether and 379 units of Bitcoin. You can see over here, and the group may make a net purchase of up to $100 million worth of cryptocurrencies, right? That's just one group. How many groups are going to come in here? Dozens, hundreds, thousands. What is that going to do for the price of Bitcoin and crypto? This could absolutely go insane. And I'm not saying this is going to happen next week or next month. You know, maybe we go sideways for months. Maybe we get a local correction first where we drop back 30, 40, 50%. But in the long term, this has basically set the tone. Bitcoin and crypto are here to stay. Companies and institutions are buying it up, and they are only just starting right now. So if they're only getting started, why would we be exiting, right? You want to keep that in mind for the long term. This could be insane. You know, there was always these memes about, you know, these people buying Bitcoin at cents and then selling them for like 30 cents, you know, or selling them for $1 and being mad about it. But what if Bitcoin now at $50,000 or $53,000 is that level? What if it is genuinely going to go to 500,000, a million, multiple millions of dollars per Bitcoin in the future? Because there are only a limited supply, and if literally companies all around the world and institutions and funds are going to be buying this up, what is going to happen to the price of it, right? It could be absolutely incredible. Another thing that's happening, a $1.9 trillion stimulus bill is going to get passed. A lot of money is going to go out to Americans. You know, last time there was that meme, what happened to if they would have put their stimulus check into Bitcoin? You know, it would have turned into thousands, like $8,000 or $9,000 just by putting stimulus into Bitcoin. A lot of people are seeing the crypto trends, the crypto hype. It's going on the media. So I think a lot of people who are going to receive the stimulus are going to put part or not, if not all of it, straight into crypto, right? So that could potentially be billions of dollars that's going to flow into the crypto market in the next couple of weeks. So again, more fuel to the fire. Novogratz Galaxy Digital pulls in $32 million for Ethereum funds. It comes from 5 institutional investors. So you can see here, guys, it's huge what's happening here. So much money flowing in, so much investment. How is this not going to get much, much bigger, right? Just logically putting it all together, all this money flowing in to a small market, that market is just going to get much bigger. And then, as always, a good thing is to always just look at the data, right? Now, the longer you are in the markets and the more you look at, the more of a gut feeling you have that's based on all this data. But it's still always good to actually look at the hard facts, right? Look at the charts, look at the data, look at the on-chain data, look at the cycles, and use all of that, combine it to be able to try and make a decision on where we are in the cycle and whether you should be adding, selling, reducing, holding, whatever you want to be doing. And you can see over here this one, so from Crypto Rand, the reserve risk indicator, you can see this marks where the peaks are, right? Peak, peak, peak in this red band. Peak over here in 2017, 2018 in the red band. Look where we are today. We are nowhere near that red band just yet, indicating that there is quite potential for further upside to be able to reach that. So keep an eye on this. When we get into that red band, that's when it's going to start getting time to be really, really cautious. Now, it doesn't mean we can't drop from here, but it does mean we still have further potential upside, right? And this is just one chart and one indicator. You can see over here, Bob Lucas, I highly recommend following him. He's very good with the cycles and the data, especially for crypto. But we've yet to reach the mania stage of the latest bubble cycle. When you consider an exponential curve, getting to 200 to 300K range is actually not as far-fetched as might initially appear. Just stay the course. The last 2 to 3 doubles in price requires extreme discipline. Okay, so that's just his insight there too. We have not yet reached the mania phase, which I said also, I think that is completely correct. We have yet to get the Bitcoin and altcoin parabolic blow-off moves. A lot of Bitcoin is flowing out from Coinbase, right? 12,000 Bitcoin is flowing out. Basically, institutions or big players are buying Bitcoin, taking them off exchanges and locking them up in cold storage. So again, this is another indicator. This is being bought up, right? Which means, again, reduction in supply, increasing demand means likely price is going to go up. Crypto exchange traffic continues its growth streak in February. You can see over here, cryptocurrency exchange web traffic. It's still growing, right? Retail is still wanting to get in. New signups are happening all the time. Peter Brand, also a technical analyst, crypto, but also stocks and other things on Twitter. He's good. Follow him on Twitter. You can see also he's drawing this parabolic chart here, the curves, and you can see his projection here, September 21 towards the top. I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist. In 46 years of trading, I've never seen a more exciting market with similar narrative. My largest current single non-real estate holding is Bitcoin. Yet for me, Bitcoin is like another market to be traded, right? So don't fall in love with Bitcoin or with specific tokens. Trade it, run with the cycles as much as possible. There will be a time to exit or to reduce risk. And that's why I'm doing these videos and sharing all this information. Plan B, $100 trillion. Follow him on Twitter if you aren't doing so already. These are the previous cycles. So the light blue is the 2016 cycle. This is the 2020 cycle. And this is where we're in right now. Okay, so first cycle, second cycle, third cycle. And you can see based on this, we are getting to a point where the trend started to accelerate, right? You can see on the based on the previous cycles. And that's what I'm saying now also with that gap I showed you at the beginning where we didn't hit $42,000 on the pullback. That might show we are due for an increase in the acceleration of the trend and a big run up. And that means, again, this would be about 12 months, right? This is about 18 months from the halving. So right now we're at about 10 months after the last halving, which means we could have anywhere between 2 and 8 months left of the cycle before it peaks. And the whole question is going to be, when is that going to peak? Is it going to peak sooner in the next 2-3 months? Or is it going to run the whole cycle and, you know, run for another 7-8 months and go absolutely insane? So we're just going to have to keep an eye on it, keep watching this. But the longer it goes on, right, the longer that these markets continue to move higher, the longer that Bitcoin continues to go higher and the bull run continues, the closer we get to a peak of the cycle. So the longer it goes on, the less risky you want to get, right? The less new money you want to start putting in, and the more careful you want to start getting, reducing position, taking initial profits, taking initial capital, and maybe even just getting out of the markets completely at some point, right? The most important thing is, if the money for you is life-changing, if your portfolio is sitting on an amount of money that can completely change your life, allows you to quit your job, pay off your mortgage, buy a house, pay off your debts, whatever the case is, if it's life-changing money for you, I would say it's a good idea to actually take a large amount out of it, if not everything, right? Like I said, you're not going to get the complete top, and being greedy could have that all melt away. If you are too greedy and if you continue to gamble it all, when it goes higher and higher and higher, you might lose it all, right? So if the money is life-changing, right? It's not financial advice. I can't tell you what to do, but just speaking from experience and having seen all of this happen last time around, if you have life-changing money, really consider whether or not you should get out. Market cycles are going to repeat, okay? There will be a crash. There will be future opportunity. There will always be opportunity. But if you don't have capital to be able to take advantage of the next opportunities, then you're not going to be able to make money. So even if you cash out, right, and it's life-changing money for you now, even if it could have been 2 or 3 or 5x more if you had held on with the power of hindsight, right, it doesn't matter, because you have life-changing money already, and you just wait for the next opportunity and you do it bigger, and you just continue like a long-term mindset, right? If you have that greed where you're like, hey, I'm just gonna hang on, and it can be 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x, you're probably just going to hold on and ride it all the way down too, because then you're going to think, oh, it's just a correction, it's going to go higher. Oh, it's just a correction, it'll come back, it'll bounce back. And then it keeps going lower and lower and lower, and you lose all those paper profits, the potential for those life-changing gains that you had already, and maybe even end up as a loss to your initial capital if you ride it all the way down. So please be careful, be logical, be sensible. Risk management is super important. Protect your capital. If you have life-changing gains, think about just taking that off the table. So guys, that was it for today's update. I do hope you enjoyed that. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Hit that like button, right? Turn the thumbs up blue, and get on my email list to make sure you get these email updates. First link in the description below. Look, I really think we still have the parabolic phase to come, both in Bitcoin and in altcoins. I told you I don't know when this is going to happen. It could happen sooner, it could happen later, but I do expect it to happen sometime this year, in the next months, right? So we're going to keep up to date on this. We're going to keep following this. We're going to keep seeing how it develops. If things go absolutely nuts in the next, 4 to 8 weeks, we might get a top sooner than expected. But if it does take a bit longer and we still get some corrections and some sideways trading, maybe it goes on for several more months. So, like I said, subscribe to the channel, get on my email list to get these notifications, because I'm going to keep doing these updates as the market progresses and try and share this info with you. And like I said, my goal personally is to try and get out of this ride up within 10 to 20% of the peak. So ride it up as much as possible. It's not going to be the ultimate top. Probably never going to be able to catch that. It doesn't matter. As long as we get life-changing gains, we can get out of the market, let it do its thing, wait for the cycles to come back down again, and start building a position some point, whether that takes another year or 2 years after this crash. If you have life-changing money, it's okay. Go and sit on a nice beach for a year, enjoy life, wait for the markets to crash, start building a position, and then we do it again next time. So thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe, like, share, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.